So here is the conversation that is very critical, because yesterday during the president's 63rd independence anniversary speech, he said that part of key points to take away from that speech was that the attorney general, the former CBN, he says the CBN is a cesspit of corruption, misappropriation, what if you may, so that he's going to that he's personal investigator. We're working on it, and then he will let us know what comes out of that. So now, having after the president said that, the Harry Potter had earlier published this report. After the president made that statement, Attorney General's office is coming and say, "Hey, no, we don't have any 50 billion naira plea bargain with Emefiele." I'd like you to react to this, please.
That's where I actually wanted to start from, because you can't put something on nothing. But in this context, I think there appears to be something. If you look at the storyline, you also notice that the Emefiele's counsel had actually shown an intent. They have actually asked the court that they have that intention to ask for plea bargain. But we haven't gotten to that stage. It's actually instructive that, like you recollected, that there's a special investigation panel by the president that is looking into some of how the monies were spent. And, the first week of that panel, we are told that they were able to recover 8 trillion naira. 8 trillion naira. So all of a sudden, when one begins to hear about a plea bargain, already 50 billion, a plea bargain by Emefiele's counsel, that already they are bargaining for him to return 50 billion. How does that add up? It actually doesn't in any way add up, because you are limiting the powers of that investigative panel. They are at work already, and the courts are also at work. And so I just saw it as a part of misinformation, which sometimes the social media is subjected to, and which for us as citizens and talking about the National Orientation Agency, we actually frown at. It's part of fake news that was being put into the media in order to influence public opinion, in order to influence the direction of governments and stakeholders towards a particular pathway, towards a particular trajectory. So
now, this is a major cause for concern. The publisher of this supposedly fake news is Sahara Reporters. There may be an online newspaper, but they are known. At least the publisher is known, Omoyele Shawari. Now, if indeed this is fake news, should the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation just take it by just writing in the press to say, no, that is not correct?
Of course, you also know that the social media is one of the fastest tools currently of reaching out to the citizens.
Yeah, but we have had we have had the DSS and several police arrest people for writing falsehood, pushing out falsehood, even on their personal private platform. Now, we are talking about a media platform, non-media platform. If indeed this is a fake news.
Yeah, it's possible. It could also be.
So you think there's no need for the Attorney General's office to take this further, ensuring that the truth comes? Because before the announcement of the Supreme Court judgments, for instance, a certain Jackson Uday on X, Twitter, now X, raised several allegations. He's in the habit of getting supposedly some info, inside info.
It's an investigative. It could be a journalist. It could be.
I don't even want
private
to.
Investigator.
Okay, good. He's supposed to be a journalist, but I don't want to go into them using his name directly.
Yes.
He's not a hidden person. He had served under former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes.
So Jackson is a known person. He's not even hiding, though he lives in the US, from what we learned. However, he raised certain concerns. Number one, that the former governor of Lagos State, Fashola, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, was part of those writing, and Justice Miriodeli, part of those writing the results, the tribunal briefings for the judges, the presidential petition court judges. Fashola wrote the IGP and demanded an immediate investigation. Justice Mary Odili's spokesperson came out and just talked about it in brief. And that was all we heard from that. Again, this is another known, and one that can be easily identified, pushing out such heinous information, which wasn't denied until the president came out and said that the former CBN, the administration of the former CBN was a cesspit of corruption, and that his present investigator is working on it. Before the end of yesterday, after the president's speech, the Attorney General's office is coming out to say, hey, no, that didn't happen. How do we know that? How do we stop some of this information from being pushed out to the public if the government of Nigeria is failing to ensure proper prosecution for those involved?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. That it's part of our own social responsibility. Part of our own social responsibility as users of some of these media. We are expected, as much as possible, we are expected to make sure that anything that we are putting out, to the public, especially those who are in the media space, that they have thoroughly been checked out. And like you mentioned now, there's an extent to which you go, beginning to sanction the media, and at the end of the day, you also find out that you have further tampered with people's right to expression and the like. So we have to be very, very careful. But the bottom line is that there has to be responsible reportage of events. And I understand your concern that is there any way government could actually take action towards making sure that we don't have frivolous posts on and unverified posts on our blogs or other social media platforms.